Navimow sent me the i-Series i110 for Father's Day this year. And we're actually a little bit close to Father's Day. By the time you watch this, Father's Day is going to be 2 days away. Not nearly enough time for you to like this video, potentially, and then go out and buy it for Dad on Father's Day. So this video is a little different. Dad is going to open his Father's Day gift and review it from the point of view of a dad opening a gift on Father's Day. So let's get out there and do a little yard work.
I'm Patrick Hunt, and I want you to like smart home tech as much as I do. Real solutions with Matter, Apple Home, and a little creativity. Weekly, I'll show you how small upgrades can make a big difference. Welcome.
One thing I'll say about my grass right now is that it hasn't been mowed in probably a week and a half. And the grass itself is several inches tall when it's only supposed to be a couple inches tall. And this thing will mow it regularly on a schedule, if I ask it to. And it's been raining for several days. And I don't have a beautiful, pristine lawn here. There's lots of weeds. There's lots of undulations in the grass, lots of roots, and lots of what they call islands, things that it needs to go around. And then there's my driveway, and that's what they call a channel, and that's the route that it has to take to get from one mowing area to the next mowing area. So that's just a little context for you of what this thing has working against it. All of those things I want to see if it can handle, because remember, we're just Dad opening our gift on Father's Day, and the lawn is in whatever condition the lawn is in. If this thing can mow this lawn in the condition that it's in today, I will be pleasantly surprised. So what about the smart home aspect of it? Well, first of all, there's no Apple Home support, but there is Alexa and Google support. So hopefully we can make some use of it given that we have Alexa in the house, or we find out that we don't really care about that and we're able to just use it through the app and it's not a big deal. We'll see. So let me show you what the lawn looks like right now, because I think that's what we need to look at first. You can see here some of the obstacles we're going to need to avoid. This is a hill that it's going to have to climb. Here it is getting buried in the grass. I don't know that it's going to make it through here. The grass is almost taller than the mower. All right, Connor woke up from his nap, so he's actually running the camera now. The first thing that we need to do is we need to get the app installed, which we can use this QR code right here for. Okay, so it says press the OK button to power the unit on. Okay, now we can get going with setting it up. When installing the antenna, it says choose an open area with no obstacles blocking views in any direction if possible. Try to keep the sky directly above the antenna unobstructed by trees or roofs. Then it says at least keep the southern sky clear. I don't know which direction is the southern sky. So I'm just going to put it in the best place on the property, which is kind of next to the house, and we'll see how that does. Blue is a strong satellite signal of antenna. We got blue. We got blue on the first try. Checking the mower. Please wait. So Dad is annoyed on Father's Day with this gift. This is still blinking yellow, which means there's an issue with the check that it's doing. My issue is with the GPS signal. Everywhere that I put it, it's not getting a good GPS signal, unfortunately. I don't have much in the backyard, but I just don't want to place this thing out in no man's land. I kind of like it tucked away a little bit somewhere without an extension cord running to it. So I'm trying to avoid that. And so far, nowhere has worked, so I'm going to keep trying. So I'm confident whatever I've done here is likely not permanent. This thing could not calibrate properly and get off the dock, so we're just going to see what happens here. You going to help me? Thank you. Thank you. Callie, can you get out of the way of the mower, please? Yeah. Oh, God. I'm not admitting a thing, but one might say maybe it was a little bit ambitious with what I could get out of this thing. By no fault of its own. I was really trying to do everything the directions said not to do. Grass was a little too long, a little too wet. Roots were a little too rooty. Hills were a little too hilly. All I can say is that my property is not ideal for this sort of thing, especially in the backyard, which is okay. I really only wanted to mow the front yard, so that's fine. There's 4 very important conditions that need to be met for the base station and the antenna that you really need to consider before buying a robot mower. The first is that the base station needs to have access to an outlet. I only have 2 exterior outlets on this house and neither are in an ideal position. The second is that the base station needs to be on level ground. All of the ground from the front of my house and backwards is on a hill. So really nothing was working back there. Third is that the antenna needs to have good line of sight to the sky, at least the southern sky. And that's really my front yard and only my front yard. So I'm really trying to find a place for this in the backyard, maybe on my deck. And lastly, the mower needs a route that it can take to get to the mowing area. So if you plan on putting this in the backyard where you're not gonna mow, maybe it's very rooty or hilly back there, that's not gonna be an ideal place for it, unfortunately. What I can say so far about this being a Father's Day gift is make sure you're not giving Dad extra work on Father's Day. Maybe make sure you've considered all these things before getting this as a present for Dad. I moved to the location of this thing about 6 times. And having watched a lot of the other reviews, I noticed one common thing. Everyone wants to put it up against the wall of their house, just to kind of tuck it in nicely with, say, their air conditioner, their trash bins, just kind of line everything up along the house. And people report bad GPS signal. I had no GPS signal. And I think it's because of a lot of the tree coverage that we have here and being nestled right between 2 houses. Our neighbors' houses are pretty close to ours. So I basically didn't get it to work anywhere on the sides of my house because of those reasons. And then it didn't work anywhere in the back of my house because the back of my house is on a pretty big hill. So this is the last place I'm putting it. It's right behind the camera, and it's the last place I wanted to put it. It's front and center in my house, right next to the driveway, right in front of the front door, and it's plugged in on our front porch. So for the sake of giving this thing an honest review, I'm setting it up where I don't want it, and we're gonna see how well it does on my front yard, because I honestly think that's the only place that it's gonna be able to run. I wanted to let it run on the uncut grass, but I think it was honestly too long and it was never gonna make it through it, so I did cut the grass. I left the deck on my mower pretty high to kind of simulate some growth and give this something to cut. So let's see how she does. Once I got past the setup that, yes, proved to be a bit difficult on my property, it was a thing of beauty once it got moving. First did a perimeter around the mowing area and then straight lines back and forth for the rest of it. It was quick, it was quiet, and very purposeful movements. This can potentially be a set it and forget it product for somebody with a very straightforward lawn that's flat and very little tree cover. I'll have to do some trimming around the edges myself, but that's to be expected with a mower like this. There's a couple new features in the app that apparently have just been recently added, one of which is traction control. I actually turned this on knowing that there was going to be some hills that it would have to traverse. So that is a welcome feature. I don't know how this would have done without traction control, actually. Another feature is voice control with Alexa, and I did try this out and it worked absolutely fine. You do have to say the exact right words.
The robot has been stopped.
And once I did that, it responded just about immediately. I was standing right here when it did it. It has an animal-friendly mode, which I've also tested out, and it is super quiet. It's been running behind me as I've been doing this, and I can barely hear it. I was curious to see how it navigated that water access cover that we have, but it did a very good job. It did leave a long strip of uncut grass, but it came back and got that later, so that was great. There's a little bit of an incline leading up to the pipe stem, and it slowed down at that point, but it still cut that grass very well. We have about a 1/4 acre, and this is gonna mow, say, 50% of it. It can't mow the rest because of exposed roots, steep hills, and poor GPS signal due to heavy tree coverage. So is it a good gift for Father's Day? Well, at this price point, it might be your Father's Day gift for the next 5 years, but I'll accept socks and underwear if it means I don't have to mow the lawn anymore. You really need to consider the placement of the base station and the antenna before purchasing, and remember those conditions that need to be met. If you can't answer all of these questions first, that means that Dad might have to when he's putting together his Father's Day gift. And you don't want to create more work for Dad, we want to get him a good gift. Overall, this is such an incredible feat for robot mowers and the perfect solution for very straightforward, flat lawns with very little tree coverage. Given that this tech is so cutting edge, I understand the need for precision when it comes to placement of the base station and the antenna. But I would personally need to wait to be able to use this until I can set that base station up on the side of my house, right next to it, on a hill and under heavy tree coverage before I'm able to actually rely on this at my house. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.